In the near future, a devastating war reduces the world to ruins. Earth becomes a desolate wasteland called the Lost Lands, and the remnants of humanity now survive within a single city. The Overlord rules this last refuge, with the church maintaining control and order. One day, a woman named Grey is sentenced to hang for witchcraft. The Enforcer uses her as a warning to those who would oppose the church. After the Enforcer departs, Grey uses her magic to cast an illusion, making a soldier believe he's the one being executed. In a panic, he shoots the rope to save himself, inadvertently freeing Grey. Still under the illusion, he sees her beside him and opens fire, only to kill another soldier. When the Enforcer hears of this, she executes the bewitched man and leads the others in pursuit of Grey. As they search the area, Grey hides in the shadows and silently eliminates the soldiers one at a time, until only the Enforcer remains. Grey corners her with a blade, and though the Enforcer invites her to finish it quickly, Grey instead hangs her. As Grey walks away, the crowd parts in silence and reverence, calling her the witch that will not hang. Meanwhile, a man named Boyce rides alone on horseback. He halts at a tunnel, sensing an ambush. As he voices his suspicion, a gang emerges. One of them attempts to take his weapon, but a two-headed snake coiled around it strikes and kills him. Boyce then forms guns with a hand gesture and swiftly wipes out the rest of the gang. Before leaving, he retrieves his snake. Elsewhere, Grey finds shelter in a tower and leaves money for a blind woman who recognizes her by her kindness. Later, the Queen and Jeray, captain of the Overwatch, visit. The Queen wants to buy the power to shapeshift into a wolf and offers extravagant jewelry as payment. Grey, who never refuses a request, accepts the task. She explains she'll hire a hunter to slay a shapeshifter and extract its power. The deadline is the next full moon, just 6 days away. As Grey prepares her blades, Jeray also seeks her service. He wants her to fail the Queen. Though he claims loyalty to her, he fears the transformation will ruin her. Grey doesn't trust his motives and suspects envy, but still accepts his timepiece as payment. Using a spell, Grey peers across the Lost Lands and sees a group of men trying, and failing, to fight a monstrous wolf. Meanwhile, the Overlord lies bedridden, once again having wet himself. The Queen, fed up, calls for maids while insulting her husband. Moments later, she shares a kiss with Boyce, revealing their affair. When Boyce attempts to sneak out of the castle, guards block his way. He spits alcohol at a torch, igniting one guard, and knocks the other down the stairs. Later, in a bar, Grey approaches Boyce, hoping to hire him for his knowledge of the Lost Lands. Boyce is more interested in gambling, so Grey challenges him and easily wins the first round. Still reluctant, he warns that few survive the Lost Lands. Grey promises he can leave her behind if she slows him down. Boyce then tells her about a great wolf said to dwell at a place called Skull River. The name matches Grey's vision, so she offers him the timepiece in exchange for leading her there. Just then, soldiers burst into the bar and one fires from above. Boyce hurls his snake at the attacker, killing him. As the body drops, the snake bites another soldier, forcing his partner to sever the infected arm. The snake slithers away. The Enforcer arrives and swiftly kills the creature with her blade, but by then, Grey and Boyce have vanished. Back at the church, the Patriarch reminds the congregation that witches and heretics must be punished. While pretending to pray, the crowd passes around a note about a rebel movement. After the service, the Patriarch reveals he knew about the note and now sees Grey as the face of the rebellion. The Enforcer captures the blind woman and crushes her hand until she confesses that Jeray and the Queen visited Grey. The Patriarch then orders the Enforcer to find Grey, force a confession out of her, and hang her. Out in the Lost Lands, Grey and Boyce camp under the stars. Boyce searches for a new snake but finds none to his liking. That night, as Grey tries to sleep, Boyce approaches her with a blade, only to kill a scorpion about to sting her. The next day, they reach a trading post run by siblings Mara and Ross, old friends of Boyce. Mara greets him with a kiss, and the pair are invited inside. Boyce tells them they expect to find the shapeshifter in a week, but Grey insists she needs it in just a few days. Boyce then agrees to take a perilous shortcut. That night, he and Mara get intimate, both regretting they meet so rarely. In the morning, before departing, Boyce warns that Mara and Ross are the only friendly faces left in the Lost Lands. As they leave, Grey notices the bones of a beast locked in a cage. Meanwhile, the Enforcer and her soldiers begin sweeping the Lost Lands by train. Back in the city, the Queen confronts the Patriarch for deploying the train without her approval and sending away all the soldiers, leaving their home vulnerable. The Patriarch, having heard whispers of her betrayal, questions her loyalty. The Queen insists the rumors are false. Later, the Patriarch contacts the Enforcer aboard the train, telling her he's confirmed the Queen's deception. They must capture the witch quickly. If they can arrest the Queen for treason and the ailing Overlord dies, the Patriarch can seize control of the city. Not long after, the soldiers discover Ross and Mara. They torture the pair until Mara reveals that Grey and Boyce are headed to Skull River. Once they get the information, the soldiers kill them and burn down their trading post. The next day, Grey and Boyce arrive at the Rift, a ruined city riddled with chasms. Inside an old building, they find a cable car system. Boyce looks for the driver, a man known to give rides for a price, but calling his name gets no response. They search the building and, tragically, find the driver hanged, meaning the soldiers arrived first. As they try to leave, the Enforcer and her troops ambush them. They offer Boyce a chance to walk away if he surrenders Gray, using Mara's body as proof of their seriousness. At that moment, Mara stirs and calls Boyce's name, prompting the enforcer to shoot her and finish the job. Furious, Boyce opens fire while Gray rushes ahead, takes out a soldier, and grabs his guns. Together, they unleash a flurry of shots, wiping out the attackers. But more soldiers pour out from the train, too many to handle, and though they fight valiantly, the duo begins to run out of ammunition. As they retreat, the train fires a cannon at them. Luckily, they dodge the blast and fall without injury. They dash to the cable car, and Boyce shoots the reel to release it. Soldiers chase them, and Gray and Boyce engage in hand-to-hand combat to defend the car. As the car travels over the massive chasm, several soldiers fall to their deaths. Others climb onto the roof, but Gray quickly follows, battling with blades. She dispatches most of them swiftly and forces the last to follow her to the edge, then cuts off his hand, sending him plummeting. Inside the car, Boyce wrestles with the remaining enemies. Watching her forces fall, the enforcer orders a soldier to sever the cable. The car tilts precariously. Gray clings on using her blades. Boyce smashes a window, sending another enemy falling. Then, the enforcer fires at the final cable. The car crashes through a building and slams into the cliffside. Gray and Boyce scramble up the rocky surface, escaping the wreck just in time. As Boyce climbs, he's hit in the shoulder by the enforcer's bullet, but Gray, already at the top, uses her powers to distract the enforcer and help them vanish into the wilderness. That night, Boyce digs the bullet out of his shoulder while Gray stitches the wound. He reflects on his fallen friends and vows revenge on the enforcer. Before sleep takes them, they lie beneath the flickering colors and lightning streaking across the sky. The next day, the Queen discovers she's pregnant. Though the child is Boyce's, she claims it's the Overlord's to secure her claim to power. Now that she has an heir, she smothers the Overlord with a pillow, ending his life. Meanwhile, Gray and Boyce arrive at Shadow's Bane, a cursed region infested with demons at nightfall. They hear the train approaching and realize they must make their stand here. Taking shelter in a cooling tower, they destroy several gas cans to coat the ground in fuel. As darkness falls, lights flicker on and a demon attacks. Boyce ignites the gas, forming a fiery ring around them. More demons enter, but bullets have little effect. The monsters place a metal plank over the flames to cross. Boyce reacts fast, kicking a gas can and shooting it mid-air. A demon leaps as the explosion hits and tackles Boyce, but Gray stabs it and pulls him free. The demon twists, lunging at her, forcing Gray into close combat. Boyce impales it on a metal rod while Gray throws her blade into another gas tank. This time, the blast is huge, drawing the attention of the demon leader perched above. The leader descends with its minions and slams into them. Recognizing Gray, it addresses her by name, saying she never should have returned. Gray channels her magic, forcing the leader back with a wave of fire from her hands. She manipulates the flames into a massive tornado that sweeps through the tower, engulfing and destroying every demon, leader and all. Afterward, Boyce notes he couldn't feel the flames. Gray explains they weren't real, she used an illusion to make the demons think they were burning, and they died from the placebo effect. She then reveals a powerful treasure is hidden in that place. Years ago, a man hired her to steal it, but the corruption there transformed him and his followers into the demons they just fought. The next day, the Patriarch announces that the Overlord has died, but the Queen is pregnant, so the baby will inherit the throne. The citizens remain silent until Jeray fires a bullet into the air, forcing the crowd to cheer for the Queen and her child. Afterward, the Patriarch kneels to the Queen and pledges to serve her, though in private he insults her and urgently contacts the Enforcer. Meanwhile, the Queen has her own plans. She seduces Jeray with a kiss, aiming to use his army for her personal ambitions. Boyce and Gray reach the fire fields, where Boyce says they'll arrive at their destination the next day. Facing the shapeshifter will be risky, so Gray tells Boyce to take his pay and leave. He refuses and asks her to return with him, but she can't. The curse compels her to accept every mission. The next day, while crossing a tunnel, they hear a train approaching. With no chance to outrun it, they devise a plan. Gray waits on the tracks until the train is close, then begins running. The Enforcer orders the train to chase her, unaware it's a trap. Gray leads it to a broken rail and jumps at the last second into Boyce's arms. The train plunges into the abyss, exploding and killing the Enforcer and all her troops. When the Patriarch hears the news, he gathers his guards to seize power. But Jeray and his army suddenly turn on him, slaughtering his forces and leaving the Queen as the sole ruler. That night, the Queen and Jeray celebrate with intimacy. The next day, Gray and Boyce reach Skull River, an eerie area covered in the bones of the wolf's victims. Inside an old building, they find signs someone's been living there, though it appears empty. Boyce wants to retreat, but Gray insists on finishing her mission. When night falls, she dons silver claws and heads outside. Boyce tries to stop her again, but it's too late. The full moon emerges, triggering his transformation. He's the shapeshifter, and Gray suspects he led her here to kill her. Boyce's body enlarges and his clothes rip apart as he turns into a monstrous wolf. Gray throws the timepiece at him and attacks with her silver claws, but he overpowers her with ease. To escape, Gray conjures an illusion of attacking birds, distracting him while she hides. When Boyce leaps at the largest bird, the illusion vanishes, revealing Gray beneath, stabbing him. Boyce tries to defend himself, but he's weakened. After a few more hits, he collapses. As Gray moves to finish him off, Boyce raises his arms in surrender. Moments later, he awakens scarred and barely conscious. Gray is tending to him, offering water and telling him to rest. When he next wakes, he finds himself in chains. Gray had stitched silver into his wounds, slowly poisoning him. As she prepares to kill him, Boyce requests a final wish, reminding her that she must grant it. He wants them to be together, hunting side by side to end their loneliness. Gray agrees, warning there's a price. At that moment, the clouds part, and the moon forces Boyce to transform again. Gray begins cutting open his chest. By morning, Gray drops the timepiece on Boyce's grave and walks away with his pelt. When she enters the city, the slaves chant her name. Guards try to quiet them, but the crowd grows louder. Rebels bring down the church's giant cross. Gray gives the pelt to Jeray, with instructions for the queen to gain its power. Jeray points out she failed his mission. Gray explains she killed the queen's lover, Boyce, so now Jeray can have her, which was his true desire. Later, the queen has a breakdown upon realizing the pelt belonged to Boyce. Her dream had been to become a beast and join him, but Jeray claims Boyce corrupted her. Realizing his betrayal, the queen stabs Jeray in the neck with a hairpin, killing him. The rebels seize the moment, storming the castle and overwhelming the guards, whose bullets are useless against the mob. At sunrise, Boyce's pelt burns to ash, and at the same time, his grave trembles. Some time later, a revived Boyce finds Gray, intent on killing her. But Gray confesses she always knew he was the queen's lover. She orchestrated everything so the rebels could win and Boyce would survive. Boyce still tries to shoot her, but the gun misfires. He lunges with a knife instead. They clash, blades at each other's throats. Gray reminds him this is what he wished for. Boyce agrees, and together they set off once more, into the wilds of the Lost Lands. Like and subscribe for more, thank you.